Good morning and welcome to Face the Nation. Both leaders have arrived in Singapore for the historic face-to-face meetings. Air Force One touched down just a short while ago, and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrived earlier in the day and met with Singapore's Prime Minister Lee. Yesterday, President Trump was asked if he had a clear objective for the talks.
I have a clear objective, but I have to say, Eliana, that it's going to be something that will always be spur of the moment. You don't know. You know, this has not been done before at this level. This is a leader who really is an unknown personality. People don't know much about him. I think that he's going to surprise on the upside, very much on the upside. We'll see.
Is there a particular outcome that you would look for from this initial talk to judge whether you think things are going well?
Well, I think the minimum would be relationship. You'd start at least a dialogue because, you know, as a deal person, I've done very well with deals. What you want to do is start that.
How long do you think it would take you to figure out whether he's serious about giving
Good
up?
question. How long would it take? I think within the first minute, I'll know.
How?
My touch, my feel. That's what I do. How long will it take to figure out whether or not they're serious? I said maybe in the first minute. You know, the way they say that you know if you're going to like somebody in the first 5 seconds. You ever hear that one? Well, I think that very quickly I'll know whether or not something good is going to happen.
We begin today with CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor, who is leading our network coverage from Singapore. Jeff, the president is about to begin what could be a significant arms control agreement, but he's casting this as sort of a question of chemistry with this 34-year-old dictator. I mean, what should we expect to see?
Well, much has been made of these touch and feel comments and the president's comments earlier in the week saying that attitude was more important than preparation when it comes to these talks. That is in keeping with his confidence as a negotiator, as someone who can get these deals done. However, he is not walking into these talks blind. As early as '99, then potential aspiring candidate Trump was talking about nuclear proliferation as the world's greatest threat, and he said at the time that that whoever was in charge should be talking to Kim Jong-il, that is Kim Jong-un's father, like crazy, trying to negotiate to disarm, to get the nuclear weapons out of North Korea.
Jeff, you know, it's interesting to watch the pomp and circumstance because you have arguably the most powerful man in the world, the President of the United States, arriving on Air Force One and being put on par with this dictator who's never traveled this far since coming to power back in 2011. The optics are really interesting.
Yes, and we've been watching the stagecraft and the theater so far. The president arriving second, walked out of Air Force One, landed at the airbase, and then walked out by himself. When Kim Jong-un arrived on an Air China flight, he was surrounded by an entourage, a big group. We are told that Kim Jong-un took a 747 to match the president's Air Force One. Also flying with Air China shows solidarity with the Chinese before these negotiations. That's a big deal for the Chinese. It's a big deal for the North Koreans. And then on the streets, at least so far from Kim Jong-un, we've seen these scenes that we've seen before, and that is him in the armored vehicle and then his bodyguards running next to him down the streets. It's quite a sight.
Jeff, thank you. Jeff Glor there in Singapore.